Judge Torres just turned down Ripple and the CC request to settle the case between them and the SEC. I'm going to talk about what this means going forward and what we need to see to make this deal official in this video. A lot of people see this as another way to stall things. I'm going to break it down and quickly talk about the XRP price chart in this video. For those who don't know, the price of XRP is going down exactly as planned. Keep watching the whole video because I'm going to break these two things down. Your help is very much appreciated as always. Thanks a lot. Thank you to everyone who liked the movies and signed up for the channel. These two easy things help me a lot. Also, if you know a good place to buy XRP, please let me know. You can find my best change up hold down in the video's description. So, let's get right to it. I hope you guys like what's here. To start off this video, I want to talk about something very interesting. Judge Torres has basically turned down Ripple, and the CC desire to settle the case. This is a bit more complicated than that, and a lot of people are freaking out about it. Let's talk about what happened. Right, Ripple and the SEC have already agreed orally to the settlement. However, there is still some work to be done on the injunction and the fine. Judge Torres made these decisions, and Ripple and the CC can only really settle in the court where the appeal was heard. They can't settle in a case that was already over, so this was the first time they met with Judge Torres. They can't just go do whatever they want without following the judge's direction. Judge Torres technically ordered a much bigger fine than what was agreed upon in the settlement. He also technically ordered that there would be a stay, even though it's clear that Ripple and the SEC don't think there should be one, and the CC and Ripple both agree with this, but Judge Torres doesn't seem to agree. To break down what our problems are, they're not that big of a deal. Stuart Alderati did say something about this. That being said, Alderati is saying right now that they are working with SEC to end this case for good. Judge Torres basically said that Ripple and the CC filing broke the rules of procedure. In essence, they were saying, hey, we want to get rid of the injunction and the fine that was given to us, which was too high. It was pretty clear that they needed to file a different form first. So they just sent in the wrong form. Once they send in the right form, we'll see what Judge Torres says. I don't see any reason why Judge Torres wouldn't agree with what Ripple and the CC are saying. It doesn't make sense not to. The CC clearly got the fine, and if they now say, hey, we're not looking for this high of a fine anymore, Judge Torres won't make Ripple pay it. Injunction is the more interesting part of this case because Judge Torres did say that the way Ripple was selling XRP to banks was like a security. To banks was like a security. Surprisingly, both Ripple and the CC now agree with that. It's agreed upon by both that Ripple's sales of XRPs are not in the form of a bond. But that goes against Judge Torres' order, which is the trouble. But Judge Torres told Ripple that they could no longer sell XRP in this way. This is an example I've used a few times on the channel. In a way, Judge Torres did not tell Ripple they couldn't sell to organizations. This is more like it. Ripple was going to the store on a certain road, but Judge Torres told him his route was no longer valid. They can still go to the store, they just have to take a different route. This is what Ripple and the SECs are trying to make clear. You can look at it either way. Ripple will get to the store either way. It doesn't really matter. That's what Judge Torres needs to say. Now Ripple can go to the store however they want. In this case, it just means that they can choose how to sell XRP. They are free to sell XRP in any way they choose, whether it's to a bank with a lockup or to someone else at a price. Now, I don't think this is a big deal because Ripple can still sell XRP to its business partners. That has nothing to do with the court order either. They might just have to think of a few different ways to do it than they did before. I want to know how Judge Torres' pride fits into this whole thing no matter what. Because it's clear that she had a reason for putting the injunction and decision on Ripple. It's not like, oh, she thinks Ripple is a bad company, but she thought she was right. She thought she was right when she said, okay, so this is a securities offering. To put it simply, Ripple and the CC are now telling Judge Torres, hey, no, you're wrong. Because, well, you need a judge who is pretty open-minded, right? That's why I'm really excited to see how Judge Torres really feels about that. Yeah. For example, the fact that she made the decision that both sides now disagree with could make things a little tricky. But I don't think it really matters, as I said before. They have other ways to get around this stuff, so it doesn't really hurt Ripple's business. In general, it'll be interesting to see how this last part of the case turns out. It's likely that the order will be lifted. Judge Torres doesn't seem like she wants to stand between these two people and say, "Look, we get what happened. The new second rules were not clear. This is how we want it done." I believe she will do it. There probably won't be that big of a fight. That's the whole story of what's going on with the case and the order, just so you know everything that's going on. If this is a way to hold things up, then no, it's not. Going forward, we'll find out what Judge Torres thinks about the order. She only wants things to be done in a certain way. The fine will be taken away. But I want to talk about the XRP price chart now because it's being sold off right now. But I think it's at a very interesting time. Let's look at the XRP price chart now. We can see that you've held on to these much higher levels since November, and XRP is just moving back and forth in this band. It's very interesting to see where XRP is settling down right now. Without a doubt, that's where we found help after this big crash. It was also kind of hard to move here, and it was stopping when we came back here before. It's interesting that this is also where we responded. It looks like XRP is now going back to that level. It looks like XRP is just confirming support on this big pattern of reversals it's been going through. XRP clearly had a big crash in 2025, but it wasn't the kind of crash we usually think of because it fell below 40 cents. It still lost about 52% of its value since its high point. Those are the kinds of moves that need some time to heal, and XRP is currently going through that time. The place we would look for help for XRP would be right here. This is where we really want XRP to stay, and if it does, we want it to bounce and start going up. That would be a great sign that $3 will be seen soon. To put it simply, we had this big breakout. We finally got out of this building that was falling apart. We switched things around, and now it looks like it's just trying these middle levels again. That's a good sign. Right now, all we want is for XRP to stay. The Bitcoin dominance chart is another very interesting chart that will have a big impact on what happens. Check out the Bitcoin dominance picture right now. This is what will really show when it's time for XRP to go. Bitcoin has been getting more popular in this channel for a while, since around 2023. This is a very, very strong route, and 63% of all transactions are taking place in Bitcoin. Bitcoin makes up 63% of the market. That being said, I think that Bitcoin will be around 15% to 10% of the market in 20 years or 10 years from now. And I always say this, it's not because Bitcoin crashed or went dead, it's just that the market as a whole is getting bigger. There's more to it than just a worthless symbol that people keep as a safety deposit. Still, these types of trends don't last